Hello everyone, I'm Luke Neller and you're watching Best Replays of the Week. In today's episode we'll see some domination from vehicles that aren't really considered all that powerful. A fighting dwarf and a triple axe from Greece. Let's get started. It's a little surprising that we haven't seen a Type 59 replay until now. TIE Capio, which is finished for Battle Dwarf, shows us what it can do in the Confederate role. The scene is a standard battle on Swamp on the EU server cluster. The dwarf pushes his way through the traffic jam and heads west. He arrives just in time to catch the spearhead of the enemy break out into the open. What follows is a nice display of defensive fighting, making good use of the type's bouncy turrets. The enemy's advance is stalled and they take plenty of damage. Unfortunately, things aren't going so well elsewhere, and the score is 0-6. As the weakened enemies finally start exploding, it's time for the Confederate to head for the other flank. The Battle Dwarf changes position and puts a hole in his opposite number. The score is 5-10 though, and he needs to do more. Okay, this looks like the spot. With the courage of something short and beardy, our defender takes on the whole enemy force. The AMX autoloader could help turn the tide, but it blows up without getting its clip off. 2 versus 5 then. The AMX M4 just made its last mistake. 4 more to go. The Nashorn requires several shots, but the end result is the same. Just 3 left now. This is starting to look like a victory. It's a good thing too, as Mr. Dwarf only has 2 standard shells left. The rival medium tank is about as equally damaged and has gone from hunter to prey. The last AP rounds bounce off the T-34-3, but all our Confederate really needs to do is distract the enemy. The IS-3 is on the job, and soon enough, the enemy are down to just 2 artillery pieces. Now all that remains is a quick bit of artillery hunting, and between the 2 tanks, it doesn't take long at all. Victory! What a great display of the Confederate spirit. The player didn't chase kills, but instead focused on being where he was needed. The result? 1 point shy of 5,000 damage and turning the tide of the battle. Well played, Sir Dwarf. The next game is also from the EU cluster, and the player is called Africanism. He puts the AMX 1375 through its paces and shows us how to win the game as an invader. The Tier 8 match is played at the Hidden Village. By the time Africanism gets going, contact has already been made with the enemy. He heads for the front and arrives just in time to catch a bulldog breaking through the lines. It tries to turn back, but there is no escape. A quick reload, and the next magazine is hammered into the side of the T-44. It's a good start. It's a target-rich environment. Africanism is as bold as brass and empties the magazine into the 30-01 with his butt hanging out. Then again, you can't argue with the results. Reload and move on. Whoa, bouncing a shell off a Tiger II will not happen again in a hurry. Okay, better not risk it. Best to just reload and look for a better opportunity. And there it is! The Tiger gets a serious hit in, but victory still belongs to the AMX. Another reload. And then an opportunity to finish off the T-37. 4 versus 4 now, but the 75 is barely holding it together. This is the Invader moment. The AMX has 53 HP left, but it has fought its way through the lines and the enemy base is within sight. Going for the capture is the right choice. Soon after getting into the circle, things start to get more serious. First one, then another ally falls. With the capture barely started, it's suddenly a race against the clock. The Su-152 is sighted. Africanism can't afford to reveal himself, so he watches helplessly as the TD blows up his last ally. 1 against 3, with 40 seconds left on the cap. The T-150 appears with no warning, and our invader backs away just in time. The faster gunslinger lives to continue the capture. 10 seconds to go. The enemy tries some blind gunnery, but it's not enough. Victory by invasion. Nice work and quick thinking. The AMX 1375 is a challenging tank to play, but the results here speak for themselves. Well done, Invader. This week's Top Gun stars a tank which isn't particularly famous for kicking ass. The AMX M445 has a nice gun and decent mobility, but in general it's a second-line combatant. Matthew 91 finds himself on Northwest and at the top of the list. The opposition has Tigers and T-29s, so let's see how the thin-skinned AMS can emerge as the top dog. Mephi starts the game in a long-range support role typical for the AMX M4. He finds a good spot and waits for victims. Here's the first customer. A T-29 is a dangerous machine, but it can't kill what it can't see. After the 3 shots, it's time to find more targets. This little autoloader turns up just in time to make itself the first kill of the match. Mephi drives forward and engages a Tiger P. Angle and positioning is everything, and the AMX bounces a shell while punching holes into the Tiger's side. Rather than chase after the fleeing target, Mephi anticipates where it's going and sets up an ambush. He takes the opportunity to kill a T-29 while waiting for the Tiger. That's 2 more kills. 3 down and no damage taken. Very good so far, but the enemies are in the lead by 4 tanks. Mephi needs to pick up the pace. The next victim is another Tiger, quickly taken out with 2 accurate shots. Kill number 4. Hey look, a Cromwell in the distance. Mephi gets busy putting shell after shell into the new target, until a Jumbo demands his attention just before the kill shot. An ally gets the kill on the E2, but the Cromwell follows it into the scrapyard just seconds later. That's 5. Mephi exchanges fire with the Stur Immel, and the last ally dies, sight unseen. That makes it 1 against 5. He loads an HE shell for the TD and gets back to business. The HE may have been a mistake. The TD's turret was not made of paper after all, and Mephi swaps back to AP. That's better, but it does result in the first damage taken in the match so far. Still, that's kill number 6. Turning around, it seems like his luck has finally run out. The KV-1 and a shoebox arty spring an almost perfect ambush. But it turns out even a soft-skinned Tier 7 heavy is too much for the smaller machines. Kills 7 and 8. 8 kills! 2 enemies to go. At this point it looks like nothing can even slow the AMX down. There is some caution in Mephi's driving however, but it's definitely him hunting the remaining enemies. There! The remaining Tiger won, and it's almost dead already. The 9th kill doesn't even see it coming, and the enemies are down to a single Tier 5 TD. As it turns out, the last player never showed up, but it's hard to believe a Tier 5 TD would have changed the outcome. The 10th kill is a free bonus. Nice driving. It's good to see what this tank can do in the right hands. Top Gun of the Week for sure. Next, we have a teamwork game with an all-Greek platoon taking on the entire enemy team. The Tier 10 standard battle is played on the EU server at the Arctic region. We start by following Jimis and Kleftats as they head north in their heavy tanks. The first clash is devastating for the enemies. The Soviet heavies prove unstoppable, and when Mega Bomberman appears in the enemy's rear with his Object 140, the slaughter is complete. A Bat tries to hide, but there is no escape. 5 kills for the Greeks and their Soviet machines. Kleftats took serious damage though, and the rest of the team seem to be busy dying. The team spreads out. Jimis heads for the middle, temporarily slowed down by an artillery strike, while in the distance, Kleftats puts pressure on the enemy base. All the defenders are dead, and the Allied base is wide open. Jimis faces down 5 heavies, backed up by support from 2 medium tanks, holding back from the front. He puts up a brave fight, but in the end, even an IS-4 can't take that kind of punishment. Meanwhile, Kleftats in the IS-7 and Mega in his Object have taken control of the enemy base. The opponents are coming for them though, and they have the numbers. Kleftats seeks cover as his IS-7 is falling apart, and Mega takes the opportunity to kill one of the tanks hunting his friend. The focus is on Mega now, but it doesn't start well. The E-100 shrugs off a hit and returns a devastating blow with its 15cm cannon. Luckily, the Allied artillery is on the ball and takes out the enemy's tracks. Taking the behemoth down is a team effort. The other object puts in a shell, and Kleftats returns just in time for a kill shot. The team is actually in a 4 versus 3 lead now. Maybe they can win with a capture. The remaining enemies are coming back to defend, and the Allied object abandons the cap. Kleftats faces down a rival IS-7, but takes a shell in the back from an ST-1. Moments later, the last Allied tank follows him to the scrapyard, and Mega Bomberman is the only tanker left. There is no option but to keep fighting. Mega finishes off the ST-1 and brings the platoon's total to 13 kills. It's 2 versus 1 now, but he does have artillery support. The track is blown off, and Mega is a sitting duck. Luckily, the IS-7 has a long reload, and the T-110 misjudges things badly. 14th kill for the Greek platoon. The IS-7 finds its courage, and Mega has to fall back. A quick shot takes the heavy down to 1 shot, and the next round will decide the game. And there we have it! 15 kills for the platoon! the three of them wiped out the entire enemy team. Well fought, you brothers in arms. For the finale, we have another premium tank game. This time it's Wickeds using the thick-skinned Super Pershing in a defensive role. The Tier 9 encounter battle is fought on Lakeville. Wickeds joins a column of tanks heading north by the side of the lake and takes part in harassing the enemies moving towards the city. He pushes further up the road to spot his own targets and gets several more hits in. The IS-6 challenges him to a long-range duel and doesn't live to tell the tale. It's a good start, though the team is a few tanks down. Onwards, continuing north turns up a Tier 9 Waffenträger, busy sending rounds towards the city. The powerful TD blows straight through the spaced armor, but in the end, its rate of fire is just too low. The Allies seem to have taken hold of the town and the capture circle, so Wickes drives his mauled Pershing all the way north and looks for the SPG. There it is, and it's looking his way. Wickes almost dodges the hit, but when it comes to artillery, almost doesn't really count. 71 HP left and 2 crew members down. On the other hand, the game is 6 versus 3. The teammates are so confident, 2 of them abandon the cap and decide to hunt the enemies down. Wickes heads that way as well, to lend a helping hand. He's barely had time to turn around, and 2 of the allies are already dead. The fight is again far from certain, and the enemies have a heavy Tier 9 autoloader. 2 more symbols wink out on the map. Now it's a Löwe, a Tiger 1 and a crippled Super Pershing versus an AMX 1390 and a 5120. The odds aren't looking very good at all now. Wickes arrives back to his old hunting ground with a perfect opportunity to pour fire into the side of the enemy heavy. Meanwhile, the 90 arrives unspotted into the city and assassinates the base-capping Tiger. The 90 begins the cap for the enemies, and the 5120 clips down the Löwe. The big AMX would be 1 hit from death, but so is our defender. There's an opportunity now if it keeps going forward. Yes! Okay, just a half-dead Pershing versus the 90 now. Capturing is slow in an encounter battle, but the SP is barely moving. There's plenty of time to think along the way. 17 kilometers an hour top speed, no hit points left, and no loader. Is this even doable? There! Both land a hit, and the Pershing takes it on the track. He can do this! Incredibly, the 90 lets the slow reload pass without a second attempt. Wickes crawls forward, and the 90 abandons the cap, rather than face it. The Pershing turns with agonizing slowness, but luckily the enemy's shot hits a wall rather than his soft side. The 90 tries again, and it's all over. Not quite the traditional defender game, but the spirit is there. You don't need to be fast to save the base from capture, as long as you get there before the end. Congratulations, Wickes! So that's all for today. In the interest of transparency, we're taking a small break. But when we come back, we're going to try to speed up the process to Best Replays of the Week. I'm Luke Neller. See you soon.